Jai Ho, my dear students. I am Ratnakar Suryavanshi from SK Public School. So, already we have completed till Giuseppe Mazzini in the last revision class. But before going to the next concept, just we will highlight what we have learned in the revision class. So, first we learned at the end of the revision class, we have learned the revolutionaries, and in this mainly we have learned the fear of repression. Then, what is the meaning of fear of repression here? Say, after the Congress of Vienna of 1815, monarchical forms of governments were established in various states of Europe. Because of this, liberal nationalists went underground, liberal nationalists, revolutionaries went underground, and they established. Why they went underground? Because of fear of repression by the monarchies. And then, even though being underground, all those liberal nationalists, revolutionaries established various secret societies. Then why they established all those secret societies? Because to train the revolutionaries as well as to spread their ideas. Then what was their idea? Their idea was about freedom, liberty. So after this we have learned a trend. Then what is the trend? The trend was started in European states that to become a revolutionary, a person must oppose. What a person must oppose? A person must oppose monarchical forms of governments which were established after the Congress of Vienna of 1815, as well as a person must fight for freedom, fight for liberty. So this trend was started after 1815. So then we learned about Giuseppe Mazzini. As you all know that Giuseppe Mazzini, he was an Italian revolutionary and he was born in 1807. He was born in 1807 in Genoa region of Italy, and at the age of 24, when at the age of just 24, and that too in 1831, Giuseppe Mazzini was sent to exile. Why he was sent to exile? Because of leading a revolution in a Liguria region of Italy. In which region? Liguria. See, because of leading a revolution in the Liguria region of Italy, Giuseppe Mazzini was sent to exile. And even though being in exile, Giuseppe Mazzini in the same year, I mean in 1831, he established his first secret society. Then which was that first secret society established by Giuseppe Mazzini? The first secret society was the Italy. Which one? The first secret society established by Giuseppe Mazzini was the Italy. It was established in Marseilles. Then where is Marseilles? It is in France at present. That too in 1831. Then he has established his second secret society in 1834. Then what is the name of the second secret society which was established by Giuseppe Mazzini? That was the Young Europe. Which one? The Young Europe. The Young Europe. It was the second secret society established by Giuseppe Mazzini in 1834, and that too it is established in Bern. Then where is this Bern? The Bern is in Germany at present. So these are the things we have already learned. And even say the like-minded young people of various states of Europe, for example France, or it may be Germany, or it may be Italy, or it may be Poland. Various like-minded young people like Giuseppe Mazzini, they too followed the same trend which was started by Giuseppe Mazzini. I mean in the states of Germany, Italy, as well as in Poland and in France, young people established their own secret societies. This trend was started by whom? Giuseppe Mazzini. Why those secret societies were set up? To put an end to the monarchical forms of government in Europe. As well as conservatives were completely frightened. Conservatives were completely frightened by the Giuseppe Mazzini's relentless opposition to the monarchical forms of government that had been established in European states after the Congress of Vienna, as well as his view, his vision about the democratic republics. These two concepts, these two ideas or these two things of Giuseppe Mazzini created fear among the conservatives in Europe. So because of this only, Duke Metternich you might have heard already, because Duke Metternich, he was Chancellor of Vienna. And you know that the Congress of Vienna, this meeting was headed under the leadership of Duke Metternich. So the Duke Metternich described Giuseppe Mazzini. The Duke Metternich described Giuseppe Mazzini as the most dangerous enemy of their social order. See, Duke Metternich described Giuseppe Mazzini as the most dangerous enemy of their social order. Which was their social order? Their social order was conservatism, conservative form of government. So, this is what we have already covered in the revision class. So, let's take the new point. The next point is the age of revolutions. Say commonly the period between 1830 and 1848. The period between 1830 and 1848, it is called the period of the age or the period of revolutions in Europe or in Europe continent. So say as it is there, the period between 1815 and 1829, the period between 1815 and 1829, it is called as the period of conservative regime. What it is called? It is called as the period of conservative regime. Why it is called as the period of conservative regime? Because say conservatives during these years only, conservatives try to consolidate their power. They try to consolidate, they try to get more power in European states. Because of that, the period between 1815 and 1829, it is commonly known as the period or the age of conservative regime or conservative rule. So, say as the conservatives try to consolidate their power, at the same time the idea of liberalism and the idea of nationalism, the idea of liberalism and the idea of nationalism came closer, and both became reasons to the revolution in many regions of Europe continent. See what happened? As the conservatives tried to consolidate their power, at the same time the ideas called liberalism and nationalism came closer into the link, and both became reasons for the revolutions in many areas or in many regions of Europe. For just example, say in Italian states as well as in German states as well as in the states of Ireland as well as in the regions of Poland and even in the provinces of Ottoman Empire. Even in the provinces of Ottoman Empire, various revolutions took place. When those revolutions took place, when the conservatives tried to consolidate their power, and at the same time the idea of liberalism and the idea of nationalism came closer. During that time, the revolutions took place in various states, various regions, various provinces of Europe. So after this, what happens is these revolutions, the revolutions which were established or started in Italian provinces, German states, Ireland, Poland, or in the provinces of Ottoman Empire, all those revolutions were headed by the middle class only, by the people of middle class. Those middle class people were liberal nationalists. Then who were there in the middle class? Professors, teachers, clerks, as well as the businessmen. All those were considered as middle class people. Those only we call them as liberal nationalists. So these liberal nationalists took the leadership of the revolutions which were started during the time of conservative regime in various states or in various provinces or regions of Europe. So after this, what happens? Same. Duke Metternich remarked, when France sneezes, the rest of the Europe catches cold. Once again, Duke Metternich remarked, when France sneezes, the rest of the Europe catches cold. I mean, its meaning is very simple. Its meaning is very simple. Then what is that meaning? See, the things or the events which took place in France, all those events had their own impacts, their own effects across the whole Europe. So this is the meaning of the remark of the Duke Metternich. That is, when France sneezes, the rest of the whole Europe catches cold. I mean, the events which took place in France, all those events had their own impacts, their own effects across Europe. So the same thing was happened here also. First revolution took place in France, that too in the month of July in 1830. I mean, the first revolution here also during the time of age of revolutions, 1830 and 1848. The period between 1830 and 1848, it is commonly called as the age of revolution. So the same thing was happened. The first revolution again took place in France, that in the month of July 1830. And at this time, the Bourbon family rule, which was re-established, which was reinstalled after the Congress of Vienna, that was once again deposed, that was once again overthrown by the liberal nationalists in France, when in the month of July 1830, and a constitutional monarchy was set up. What is set up? A constitutional monarchy was set up in France, as Louis Philippe was the head of constitutional monarchy, which was set up in France after the revolution of July 1830. See, once again I will repeat this point. After the revolution of July 1830, the Bourbon family rule, which was reinstalled in France according to the Congress of Vienna Treaty, that Bourbon family rule, Bourbon king's rule, was overthrown after the July 1830 revolution in France, and constitutional monarchy was set up in France, making Louis Philippe as its head. So, as I told you that the first uprising, the first revolution took place in France in the month of July 1830, this became a motivation to the various regions, various states of Europe to start uprising against the monarchical rule, against the monarchical forms of governments in European states or in European regions. So, in Brussels also the same thing was happened. What happened in Brussels? Brussels also, uprising was sparked by the revolution of France of July 1830, and in Brussels, revolution was started. Because of that, Belgium, which one? Because of that, Belgium was separated from the United Kingdom of Netherlands. Belgium was separated from the United Kingdom of Netherlands because of the uprising established or started in the Brussels. Because of this, what happened? Belgium was separated from the United Kingdom of Netherlands. So this is what we have covered here in this class. That is, we call the age of revolutions. So the remaining points will be continued, will be taken in the next class. Jai Hind.